I'm gonna go over like a factory reset of my Garmin to show you all of the settings for 2D or two-dimensional or traditional chirp style sonar. I'm gonna do a factory reset on all my settings, and I'm gonna show you how I use them. And we have the perfect scenario right now where I'm in super deep water, too deep for Livescope Plus, just perfect for Livescope XR. I'm gonna turn it off. And there's bait everywhere and there's Lakers everywhere. So this is like the worst case scenario that you might see out jigging. And I'm gonna show you guys how to pick those lake trout out of all the bait that's around us. Let's go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop into, this is a Garmin GPS map. The Echo Maps are relatively the same, just a slightly bit different. So I'm using a GT54 in the back left corner of my boat here. Now that matters. You can get one of these fishing specialties pole and put it on there so you can move it around your boat. I have the Lund Rebel. This is a 16-footer. The GoPros make it look a little wider than it is, but I'm 5'10". It's not super wide. It's not a super big boat, just as a reference. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Sonar, Installation, Restore Sonar Defaults, yes. So what that's gonna do is it's going to change all the settings back to as if I just opened it out of the box. So it's gonna change a bunch of stuff on my Livescope, but we don't need to know that. So see how the unit just slowed down, and what we're doing when we're jigging for lake trout in the 2D manner, we're looking at that bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I think you might be able to reverse it to the left-hand side. I don't think it really matters. It's always, we're looking right here, wherever that arrow is. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hop into Sonar, and I'm going to, gain is good, medium right there, high chirp. And what we're gonna do, since we're down super deep here, beam width, we're gonna make our beam really, really skinny. So we're at 230 kilohertz. So that thing is pinging the bottom 230 times per second. I will confirm on the interwebs if that's true or not. 230, and want my cone angle super skinny because I don't want to be looking at a giant spot. Right now we're at a very deep hump next to even deeper water. So that's step one. And this is a place that I regularly find fish. I'm gonna turn my gain up just a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna adjust my gain so I can basically see my jig. So my jig, right now, this is how we're adjusting our settings for the most part. This is a 1 ounce jig with a 6-inch grub tail from the Big Bait kit from benditfish.com and the Big Bait XL kit. Use basically the same thing. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop this down near the sonar as much as we can. And we'll come back to the gain settings here in a second. We're going to go to Sonar Setup, Appearance, Color Scheme. I like blue, as you guys know. Color Gain Default. We want to turn on A-Scope. So that's that little typewriter on the right-hand side of the screen, as I call it. It's the amplitude scope. All three versions, so Humminbird and Lowrance, all have A-Scope. It's the original like flasher style sonar back in the day. We're running a medium heavy baitcaster, 7-footer, and we're dropping that jig down. Our goal is to see our jig, and then we want to kind of see around that jig at the same time. So I'm keeping my jig as close as I can to the back of the sonar, unless we have current. So if we have current that's coming this way, we can jig in the front of the boat, and our line will hopefully be underneath our transducer at some point. So you guys can see my jig right there. I'm going to hopefully not catch a fish while I'm adjusting my settings. We want to turn Echo Stretch on, so that's going to make our beam width a little bit bigger. See how my jig just grew in size? That's going to make it really easy to see for older eyes, younger eyes that aren't so great like myself, and then for smaller screens. Right now I'm running a 12-inch because that's how I record my screen. I have a HDMI out. That's how I record, so I have to use my bigger screen for this. And then depth line, we want that on there. Don't need that. For noise reject, surface noise, TVG. So TVG is time varying gain. It basically turns off all of that bouncing noise on the surface. Let's put it back on medium because that was nice. And then scroll speed is the biggest one. Scroll speed, we want that maxed out. We want as fast as information as possible. So just to get you guys a perspective of where I am, it's recording on the screen, and I'm staring at the screen. This is the Millennium mount. Everybody's been asking me what mount this is. This Millennium mount, I bought it a couple of years ago and I forgot I had it because I tried to put it in my last boat. It's a Millennium mount. It works okay. So my jig's at 100 feet right now. In my line, I keep moving my line away from my sonar, so it's not showing up great. So we're looking in that bottom right-hand corner. What you see under my jig is bait. And then what you see underneath that bait is lake trout. So lake trout will come up and eat that bait. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop down right above bottom, hopefully where we can see ourselves. And actually what we can do, since we really can't see ourselves, we can drop to bottom, let our line go slack like it is right now, and we can slowly start reeling it off bottom. Yep, I got bumped. And we're looking at that little tiny piece down there. He's coming, he gave up too. So those two hard lines, and what 2D sonar is doing is looking at the back of the lake trout. In this case, these lake trout are vertical on me, so the mark actually looks similar to my size jig, but it's the cross section of whatever that sonar is seeing. So I want to stay above these fish as much as I can. So there's bait all over down there, and these lakers are literally just coming up from bottom, hitting that bait, off bottom, eating it, and then going back down. So they're ambushing their prey. And the other thing we could do is we can zoom in here. So there's a couple fish. See how that turned like hard red? Anything that's not hard red is usually bait. So there's 2 or 3 lakers down there. They haven't seen me yet. So we're gonna drop straight to bottom and ignore those lakers. This is like, I have clients that I teach how to jig and show how to jig. Telling a client to ignore all the fish on the screen is really hard. Hard for them to ignore it. And I'm just gonna slowly reel it off bottom. So only those hard red lines, similar to my jig, are lake trout. The rest are bait. So I'm trying to stay away from above all those marks so I know where I am. If I drop down in there, I can't say who's who, and I could possibly miss fish. Or I know I'll miss fish, actually. So the height, the width of the line is in direct correlation to the width of the fish, or whatever cross-section is seen. If that fish is chasing me straight up, it's just seeing the cone of the nose of the fish. Does that make sense? And then if it's flat line and the fish is swimming straight underneath us, it's looking at the back of the fish. So bigger the line, bigger the fish. Most of the time, if they're like in the best scenario where they're like right underneath the sonar. Come on. Got him. Finally. The reason I'm absolutely cranking into these fish is to get them basically under control and to get my rod in the working zone. So close to the water. Don't be afraid to get the rod wet. And then we want it max right up here because you lose basically arm power once you start getting up high like that, and the rod can't recover fast enough, or you'll break your rod. It's a nice one. Nice fatty. So what's nice about the chase is you almost always get a perfect hook set. So that's a nice, I don't know, just under 30 incher or so. Going right back in. And then soon as I land that fish, I mess with my line here. I get it going right back down again. So they come in schools, especially in this lake. They hunt in like little, call them like wolf packs. So see how the fish just disappeared? That means he shot out of the cone angle. So he shot out left, right, straight, anywhere in that perfectly concentric cone on the bottom. Just disappeared. And if they spook, that's what happens to that fish. Spooked. And the instant I see that fish, I need to react to that fish. When I get him close, so I'm staying up, so bottom's 122 feet. I'm staying at like 110. I'm staying about 10 feet off bottom, which is ideal because the instant I see that fish come up, it's hard to explain. So imagine my jig is here, and I have a fish that's coming from over here. I'm just making this up. My jig is here, fish is coming from over here. They're 10 feet apart. I won't see a hard red return until he's almost underneath me, and usually by that time it's too late. So the further I stay up, the more running room I have to interact with them. Because if I just dead stick it there, some lakers in some scenarios will just hit it dead stick and they'll just whack it on your, like, just not moving at all. I love those fish. Also a pain in the butt if you don't know that's what they're doing. So we want to interact the instant we see them. So the higher we can stay up, especially with 2D, because we can't see them coming until they're in that cone angle, the better. That fish was hangry. So that just, see all that noise there, that little V of noise? That's the fish burping. And so I can hold him there to relieve some of his barotrauma if they're not going to roll around too much. Just loosen my drag a smidgen in case he wants to run. And I'm running a 15-pound leader and then a 20-pound leader, 15-pound braid. Another nice one. Beauty. Going back in. So just a quick fish handling tip. Rubberized net. It's heavy, it's stupid. Rubberized net. Barbless if you have to be. I'll probably switch to barbless later today, I usually do. Out of the water, back in the water in under 10 seconds. That's all I'm gonna say. Hold that fish like a boss. Don't drop him. And another key thing, like settings are dialed in, is turn this auto thing off and put that thing right to the bottom of the lake there. Ooh, you smoked me. Oh, he hit it again. Third time? Come on. Got him. That fish was hangry. Probably 6 or 7 of them down there right now. And you can do this. This back sonar is only a couple $100, GT54. They make cheaper ones. You don't need side imaging. You don't need any of that stuff unless you're doing bass fishing. Your Vexilar ice fishing unit, if it can go down to about 200 feet, whatever. If they say it could go down to 100, cut that number in half. Catch a couple more here. This is so much fun. Nice fatso. A little bit smaller than the other ones. Nice 28 incher. See that? So that fish ran up at me and stopped at the bait and went back down, which is very common. They're not going to chase. They will get tunnel vision and they'll just chase whatever they're chasing. But Lakers are pretty lazy. They want to eat whatever is easiest for them. If I can get one to come past the bait pile there, that one right there. Oh, short strike me. I'm trying to show you where my jig was compared to the fish. All right, so there's no bait around, which is great for us. Nice and clear image of my jig. I'm going right on top of my transducer. Like I said, if you have like an ice fishing unit that you can hang that deucer off the side where you're comfortable fishing, perfect. Which I do have one, but I don't have it with me today. That'd actually be more comfortable. Got him. So another great thing about bait casters is I can run my drag where I want it, and then I can thumb the reel to hit that fish a little harder with no drag. Just reeling down, doing little lifts. And when you get them on the surface like this, they have a tendency to pop off, but we're gonna try not to do that there. We got another laker. Another small one. So that last laker bit the tail off my grub. So we're gonna pull that off. Take out a new bait that's been sitting in the sun. And these fish seem to be short striking. So what I can do is I can put a stinger on, which I don't like to do, or I'll just take some scissors and chop a piece off. I'm right at 100 feet right now. I'm gonna drop down below that bait. Keep dropping, keep dropping. I know there's a laker down there because it's moving around a bunch. Got him. Oh, there's a bunch down there. This one seems like he wants to pull drag. And I try to keep enough pressure on them so they can't turn their head around and go back down. There is the occasional big one that just does that to me, basically. It's a nice wild fish here on Champlain. Has all its fins, so they fin clip their stocked lakers. And lakers always have the tendency to bleed because you're bringing them from so far down. Their baritone basically squeezing their body. Their bladder is pushing out, making more blood pressure. So I'm not gonna drop all the way through that. Not that you guys have Livescope XR, and that's not the point of this video. That's what the school of bait looks like. See how it's all like a bunch of individual little dots? That's all bait. And the lakers are underneath them. So the lakers are these things right here. So much bait and so many lakers down there. I'm gonna drop right to bottom. I'm on bottom, just gonna, oh, he hit it on bottom. Just gonna say, I'm not gonna leave it on bottom for a second. And I'm gonna act like I'm dead down there. And I'm gonna slowly reel it off bottom. Got him. Another beauty, and I just pulled a big lamprey bite off that guy. So if you guys want to support the channel, visit benditfish.com where you can pick up the big bait kit. And if you want to see more lake trout videos, either click here or click here, and I'll see you on one of the next videos.